Good morning. Athena the Witch here, 13. I come to you today. I'd like to speak to you about the fact that we have a full moon today. And some of you may be wondering what full moon it is. Well, it is the strawberry moon. The strawberry moon in Sagittarius. Now, if you know anything about Sagittarius, it's the symbol of the zodiac with the bow and the arrow, the protector of the constellation to the Milky Way. So, always ready to defend and protect, only when threatened. Okay. But the full moon has some other, names to it as well for June. The flower moon, the rose moon, So, yeah, but we'll go by the strawberry moon. I think it's cute. Okay. It is also the last moon of spring or the beginning of summer. Okay. Now, what I do with the full moon is that I take advantage of it and I put out, I'll show you my big bottles. Okay, that's one size, another size, or, oops, any one of your jars from your tomato sauce that you clean and keep. You can put it in there too. And I also like the bottle with the claps. Unfortunately, I can't find it. We moved into this house, and with the move, let me tell you, we lost quite a bit of things. So I don't know where that bottle went, but I may find it. So what I do is very simple. Tonight, the full moon will come at 11:42. So I fill up my bottles with water. I use tap water. Some people can use spring water if that's what they like. I know that you can also buy moon water online. Of course, those prices are not going to be cheap, especially when they don't give you a price. You know that's probably out of your mark. So you can do this yourself. You just make sure your bottles are cleansed. Okay. I like to smudge them ahead of time. And then I'll fill it up with tap water. And I'll put them outside on my deck. And I'll let the energy of the moon imbue it. I'll ask the moon to draw down her energy with intention, whatever my intention is, because that's important, the intention. And I'll have moon water for a month. I use it in my bath, you know. Um, I use it on different objects to clean certain objects. So it's something that is dear to me that I like to do. Now, don't fret if the moon is still good for a day before the full moon and day after the full moon. So you're looking at approximately 3 days, okay, that you can do this. But of course, when the moon is full, um, it's the better time to do it. But the others work too. It's all about your intention and asking the moon to bring down its energy, draw its energy into the water. Okay. The ones online are, of course, more fancy, fancy label. They don't do anything more than what the moon does when you put the water outside to energize. It's all a gimmick, really, but to each his own. As a pagan, I go the natural way. What can I tell you? Okay, so in of this is that I also do my crystals. Okay, now I want to talk to you about the crystals because you need to know the hardness of your crystals and your stones that you're putting out there. Anything 6 and above the hardness scale is safe to put outside when it rains. Okay, now I think in our area they're predicting some rain tonight. So I'm only going to put out the crystals and the stones that I have that are 6 and above. All right. So I'm going to show you some photos of stones that I have that are okay to do that. But again, please, before you do the research yourself and make sure, okay, that it's appropriate. Because certain ones, for example, that I will show you, this is fluorite, okay? You can see this, fluorite, okay? Fluorite is one of my favorite stones, okay? But I won't put fluorite out, okay? I'm sorry, this was selenite. What am I talking about? This is selenite, and this one is fluorite. And fluorite comes in many colors, okay? Sometimes you'll see purple, blue, green, all in one, and it's really a beautiful stone. Now, the selenite, okay, obviously, if you put this one immersed in water, it's going to disintegrate, okay? It's that type of a stone, very delicate. Now, some of my oils that I make, I will put a small piece of selenite in there, okay? All right? But not much, just a small piece, because it's going to dissolve, okay? And some stones you don't, oh, what was that? Some stones you don't want to. Where am I going with this? I'm hitting everything I'm not supposed to. Okay, so this one, like I said, fluorite. I love this one, especially if I have a headache or I'm stressed out, and I'll meditate on this one. I'll hold it firmly in my hands and I'll meditate, or I'll lay down and I'll put it on my third eye. Okay, so that's one that you really can't. Selenite, the same thing. You don't want to put that in water as well. Okay. This is a beautiful color stone. It reminds me of the angels, that blueness. So beautiful. Now, the other ones, as far as I know, you can put it in water. Okay. So this is amber. Okay. This is aventurine. Okay. I'm going to turn these the other way. Tiger's eye. Green calcite. Aquamarine. Chrysoprase. Moldavite. Labradorite. Emerald. Chrysocolla. Turquoise. Bloodstone. Amazonite. Malachite. Lapis lazuli. Azurite is one stone that you don't want to put in rainwater, okay? All right. You don't want to do that. Kyanite, blue calcite, pyrite, you know, the one that looks like gold, fool's gold, sapphire, peridot, garnet, jasper, orange calcite, honey calcite, smoky quartz, hematite, agate, carnelian. You don't want to put carnelian in salt water, okay? Don't. Black tourmaline, okay? All right. Black obsidian. Now, black obsidian, okay, got to be careful with black obsidian. It's very sensitive to very cold and hot temperatures, okay? Ruby, quartz, diamond. Now, diamond is the hardest of the mold scale. It's a 10. So that one's pretty good. The Herkimer diamond. The Tibetan black quartz. Beautiful stone. The Aphrodite. If I'm saying that right. Okay, and your moonstone. Okay. Citrine. You don't want to put opal, okay, in the rain either, okay? Tourmaline quartz. Lemurian quartz. Rose quartz. And there's another one that you don't want to put in the water, salt water either. Okay, lepidolite. Okay, very sensitive. And amethyst. Okay, so basically those are the stones that you keep on doing this. I don't know why. Those are the stones that you can and cannot. Okay, as I said, selenite, lepidolite, fluorite, opal, azurite, gypsum. I don't think I showed you any gypsum, and tangerine quartz. Okay, those are the ones that you do not want in rainwater or salt water for that matter. Okay, So that gives you an idea of what you can put outside. Now, say you don't have an outside yard to put them in, okay, on a deck or something like that. What you can do is put them by the windowsill, okay? The moon is a very powerful energy, okay? And if you think about it, when I worked in the hospital, and you would hear in the emergency room, oh, it's a full moon tonight. All the crazies are in. It's just that the moon has such a pulling effect on us. Now, think about it. The moon raises the high tide in the water, in the ocean, right? Well, your body is made 80% of water. So what do you think it does to you? Okay. So, yes, there is a correlation, okay, between the full moon and ourselves, okay? When you think about the full moon, think about also women's menstrual cycle. It's every 28 days. That's when the full moon takes place, right? Okay. The full moon is usually once a month, but there is, at times 2 full moons in a month. I've seen that the harvest moon, for example, and that's where the saying comes from. Oh, once in a blue moon. This happens once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon. Yeah. Okay. Because it happened twice. Okay. So that's what I do, getting ready for the full moon. I also go outside, and if it's nice, and it's still a little, cool here, especially at night. I will say the temperatures go down into the early 50s, late 40s. Okay. So I'll go outside, put a coat on, bring a candle, and sit down and gaze at the moon and talk to the lady. Now, Wiccans do a much more elaborate, kind of ceremony for the full moon, especially those in a coven. There's like 12, 13 people who get together and they do a ritual. I'm not that crazy about doing that stuff. It never was my thing. I just have a good relationship with the moon, Our Lady there. And, sometimes all I'll do, I may not even do moon water because I have enough from the previous time. And, depending on how my week went, if it was a very stressful week, and then, with family obligations and everything else that comes out of the woodwork unexpectedly, sometimes you just don't have the energy. And it's okay. It doesn't make you a bad witch, okay? It just says, you know what? Take time for yourself. Just sit down, tell the lady, what you've been through the week. It's like doing self-therapy, can't hurt. All right. And that's fine. It doesn't make you less of a witch. Okay. Because the intent is there. It's always about intent. Okay. You can do any kind of spell, but if you don't put the intent for the spell, it's not going to work. It won't happen because you have not drawn the power within yourself, okay, and focused on whatever spell you're doing with the intent of what you wanted to do. Again, I always say, you can do spells all you want, but if you don't do the work that goes with it, you can't expect it to work. It's like I said before, if someone wants a nice paying job, they can't sit at home and not send out resumes or respond to anything that came in, whether it's, appropriate for you or not, depending on, what you're looking for. But you have to do the work, okay? And then the universe, listens and works with you. So that's where it's at. Now, like I said, we will talk about what I'd like to do tomorrow is basically the witch's bottle. And I think that's really awesome. I don't know if many of you know why it's called a witch's bottle, but it's a witch's protection. So we put a lot of things in there that we feel will protect us, our home, and I think it's kind of awesome to make. So I'll show you what mines look like. But again, be easy on yourself. Don't go crazy. If you can't make this moon, guess what? There's another one next month. Okay? Really. But if you can, I always like to make enough so that just in case I can't, I still have. Okay? Some of the stones that I talked about that really don't do well in rain and salt water, like the labradorite, the opal, the tangerine quartz, the selenite, the azurite. How do you cleanse those? How do you charge those? Okay. You can put them in the palm of your hand and blow 3 hard blows with the intent of cleansing, like this. That's one way. Then you can hold them and put your intent in, what you would like them to do, and meditate on that. You're enchanting them. That's another way to do your enchantment. The other way to cleanse, obviously, is through fire. So if you have a candle that's lit, you can run the stones and crystals over the flame. And again, state your intent. Your intent is to cleanse your stones of any impurities, and your intention is what you put into it. So whatever that intent is, okay? And you ask that the power of the flame energize the stone and clear it of any negativity. So that's another way of doing it. You can smudge, okay? That's another thing on how you can cleanse and energize your stone. So there are ways, okay? When I go to the beach sometimes, what I'll do, even though it's not a full moon, I will take a net, a bag that's in the shape of a net with a string attached to it. And I will put my stones and my crystals that can go in salt water, okay? And I named you the ones. Most of them can, but there are those that cannot. And I will bury it in the sand with the strings coming out so I know where I buried it, okay? And leave it there for the time that I'm at the beach and keep an eye on it. And when I'm ready to go home, like 15 minutes before, I'll dig it out of the sand and I'll sit down by the shore and just let the water come and run over it and cleanse it. You may think I'm crazy, but I love doing that stuff. It really, it's very empowering. The sun, the salt water, just watching the waves come onto the shore, and some of them are big and they crash and just dissipate. You see other waves coming in, and you look out and you can't see anything but water. There's no buildings, there's nothing in sight that you can see, any land, okay? It's incredible. Now, while I think all that is beautiful and relaxing and re-energizing, I don't swim in the ocean. I just don't. I don't know what's down there, and I want to know what's down there. So this girl is strictly pool, okay? But yeah, I like boat rides, but then you'll see me with a jacket, life-saving jacket on, okay? Um, we have a lot of sightings of sharks, okay? And I don't know why that is. The last couple of years, it's been like that. We've had some whales that have washed up on the beach. I'll give you a story which I find funny and hilarious, but it happened to my oldest son and it wasn't funny and hilarious to him. He did not want to go on the beach. He didn't like the sand between his toes. He was about 14 years old. He was at that age, kind of moody, not wanting to do things with the family. And so we made him go to the beach. Okay. So we kind of coaxed him into going into the ocean. Now, I'm in the ocean probably up to my waist. Okay. Not anything more than that. And so he comes in and I see him and he's just, moving the water with his hands. And all of a sudden, I hear one heck of a scream and him dashing out of that ocean water faster than his legs can carry him. And I turned around to look, and there was a baby whale that washed up next to him. Out of all the people that it washed up next to, it had to wash up next to him. I was like, oh my goodness, right? And he was so mad, so furious. And I was like, don't you understand? I said, the whale was in trouble and he came to you for help. I don't want anything to do with it. He said. So the lifeguard called the animal people and they came out and they tried to save the baby whale, but it was sick. So it beached up on shore and it was sad. It gave its last breath, but I was there and we were pouring water on it. The sun was very hot, but it's one of God's creatures, so you feel for it, and it was a shame. It was a baby whale. So yeah, all those wonderful things can happen at the beach. And like I said, I don't know if my son, he's 50 years old now, married with 2 children of his own. I don't know if he ever goes to the beach anymore. But it is what happens sometimes. And animals come to you for help, my cats and dogs. Tell you another story about, and this is funny too. I had bought a statue of San Francis, okay, the saint that loves animals, okay. And I put it at my old house in the bay window. And dogs from all over are coming on my doorstep. Cats are coming, birds are coming. And I'm like, this never happened before. And my dogs, at that time, I had 2 German Shepherds, and they would be barking up a storm. And I was like, what the heck's going on here? So one day, I go out to lunch with a friend of mine, and I'm telling her what's going on. I said, this is the weirdest thing. And she comes home with me, and she starts laughing when she saw St. Francis in the bay window. And she said, that's the reason why all the animals are coming to you. She says, you better take that statue out of your window. And I said, oh, get out of here. And she says, I'm telling you, St. Francis loved animals and they know it. So I did. I took the statue out of the window and I put it in my room in the corner on a shelf. And then the animals start coming out of the blue. So there's something to be said about saints and what they did and who gravitated towards them and what their specialty was. So yeah. So the universe is full of beautiful things. We just have to take the time to smell the roses, like I say, smell the fountain, smell the coffee, relax, look. I'm looking out my window as I'm talking to you, and I'm seeing the leaves, and I'm hearing my wind chimes, and the wind is blowing, and it's a little cloudy and dim, but it's part of nature. That's what it is. So I say savor every moment. You know, our time here on this planet, Earth School, is limited. So enjoy the good, enjoy the not so good, because you know what? The not so good teaches you something. Okay, it's like when you meet someone and right away you don't get a good feeling about that person. Well, maybe there's an aspect of that person that lies within you. Try and find out what that is. Okay. Or maybe you knew that person in a past life and they weren't very kind to you. Okay. You remember that. So who knows? What I'm trying to say is don't let life pass you by. Savor every moment of it because it is a great teacher. And we learn more in times of difficulty than we do in good times, okay? If we pay attention, if we are seekers of the truth, then we understand better why we're here. We're just not passing through here for no reason. There's lessons to be learned, okay? Well, I bid you a good evening. I am going to a festivity and meet some of my friends. And I made some macaroni salad. So I'm looking forward to going there. And I hope you enjoy your day as well. So God bless, brightest blessings. See you again tomorrow. Bye bye now.